Let's hit the high road. Let's hit the high road. It's the first touch, strong connection.
Hi, it's Nancy Yearout, and welcome to High Road to Humanity. And guess who's back here? Carmen Turner-Schott is back, and welcome back to the High Road, Carmen.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I told her I think this is her best book ever, you guys. She's an astrologer, if you don't know who Carmen is, and this is your astrological energy. And I am so big into energy. I really like the title. It's Maximize the Power of Your Birth Chart. And so I'm going to ask her lots of questions, you guys, today on how to, maneuver because there's always these questions. I'm not an astrologer, and I think everybody wants to know these things, Carmen.
Yeah, that's my goal really is to teach it in a basic way where everyone can understand it because I spent my life studying it since I was 16, and you don't have to know all of the ins and outs. You just need to know the basics. And so I'm trying to teach that because a lot of people tell me they give it up or they don't buy books because it's confusing them.
Well, it
And
is.
it's a
Yeah.
lot. It's a lot. I mean, I'm still learning. You can spend lifetimes learning astrology. There's so much. It is like never boring but it can get confusing. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to write books that make it basic and really focus on the fact that astrology is energy. It's
Yes.
energy. That's
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. And everything's energy. I wrote a book about energy, you guys. Wake
Oh,
up.
I
The
love it.
universe is
Yeah,
speaking to you about
nice.
energy. Before we get into it with Carmen, I have to say, you guys, you can hire me to speak. I don't know if everybody knows this or not, but I've been speaking. So I will come and speak at your church about the angels, or I'll come and speak at your group about, ascension. I can talk about the impasse, whatever. I do have different topics on my website. So go to nancyyearout.com if you have graduation. I do a motivational speech, for that type of thing. So just go to nancyyearout.com and you can book me. We'll get together and I will come to your event, even if you're not, because I'm in Connecticut. So I will fly and go. So
Ooh,
I just want to get that out there to everybody because if you don't know, I speak, I do. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Carmen before we get into this, you guys. Carmen Turner-Schott is a practicing clinical social worker. She's a psychotherapist and she's an astrologer with national and international clientele. Now, she has worked as an astrologer and with survivors of trauma for over 25 years. And she's the author of Sun Signs, Houses in Healing, and Moon Signs, Houses in Healing. She has presented astrological workshops. I mean, you just have such a fabulous background. I was telling you today, I don't know how many times you've been on my show with new books lately. You just really been, doing great. I just want to say before I start asking you questions, I just want to tell the audience what I really like about this book, and I told you before we got on the show, is that I didn't understand all the houses in the birth chart. We all have this birth chart. I pulled mine up, you guys, so I could follow along. But nobody's ever explained it like you do in here. And so I guess I just want to start out with saying you say in the book, astrology is energy, everything is energy, and you call it the map of, you say the birth chart is the map of the soul.
yes. Yes.
Well, tell us about this.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of neat because, everyone's always like, well, why is the birth chart a wheel? And why does it have all these weird symbols? And
Mhm.
astrology is its own language. And when you learn to interpret that language, then you can understand the energy behind all of it. And so that's the basics. So think of this, that on the moment, time, place, and date of your birth,
Right.
when you're on Earth and you're looking up at the sky, all of the 12 zodiac signs, which are constellations. They're scientific. It's astronomy.
Mhm.
God created the universe, he created the sky, he created, the seasons, all of this. So
Right.
so those 12 constellations are formed, they look like symbols, and that's where we give the symbols of the 12 signs because they kind of look a certain way in the sky, right?
Mhm.
And so the 12 signs are in the sky when you're looking up when you're born. And the 10 major planets, we look at the 10 major planets, they are in a certain constellation when you're born. They're in a certain sign. So if you're born in, August 26th, everyone born on that day is a Virgo sun. That means the sun is in Virgo, no matter where you are in the world, right? But the time, the exact time of birth can change a lot of your chart. That's why it's so important that we know what time it is and what city, country, state, right? The
Hmm.
different time zones and all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we want to see, okay, where are those planets? They're in a certain constellation.
Now, can I ask a question really quick
Yeah,
here? So, as you're telling me this, I'm thinking we're up there and we're planning our life,
we are.
right? Okay, so we're planning it. I just want to correlate this. So,
Yeah, we're a
I'm
soul. So
thinking,
so yeah,
yeah,
you're just imagine like you're getting ready to come into the earth realm.
yeah,
So you're coming in when the energy is perfect for you to learn the lessons that your soul has chose to
that's
learn.
what I was getting at. Yes,
Yes,
Carmen.
your
Yeah,
destiny.
yeah,
And so it's very specific. I mean,
yeah,
because the sky is a certain way when you're getting ready to come in to spirit, if your spirit's getting ready to come in the material world,
right,
and it's like we take a picture of the sky and we break it into 12 sections, which we call the houses.
right.
And we take a picture of it and we put on a piece of paper. And that is what that wheel is that you're holding. That is the picture of the sky when your soul chose to be born and come into the realm.
Isn't this
And
crazy?
and so this is the thing people ask me because your soul is, coming in, but when you take your first breath, when you're born, that is when we cast the chart because that is when you are finally out on your own and
When
you're
you
not
take the first
alone.
breath, yeah,
That's your chart. So like people that like have babies early, like my daughter, she was a whole month early, but by C-section, but she chose that. I tell people, if a soul's born early, that's because they wanted to be, and
hmm,
and if we're born late, it's because we wanted to be late because there's something in the sky in our destiny in our, the map of the soul that needs to be a certain way for us to learn certain lessons and timing. It's all about timing. And so that map of the soul is the sky when you're born, when your energy comes in. And even twins, people ask me, but how does that work with twins?
yeah.
Well, twins, okay, every 2 hours, the rising sign changes. The
Yeah, and
rise,
I'm going to ask you about that because, okay, so let me just stop you really quick if you don't mind,
yeah,
if
yeah,
I
yeah.
can ask you this. So I know my rising sign is Libra, for example.
Okay, okay.
So when I got your book, I read about Aquarius because I'm an Aquarius, but then I know my rising sign, or some people call it
Ascendant.
your
Yeah,
ascendant, right?
yeah, yeah,
And they call it, I thought that was interesting. So
yeah,
then I went and read my rising sign.
yeah,
And I was shocked at how much I'm resonated with
yeah,
my rising sign.
yeah.
So, as you're getting into this, explain this. How
Yes.
does all that work?
So the three most important things to know, if you don't know anything about astrology, you need to know your rising sign.
Right?
It's also called the ascendant. That what that means is that's the sign that's ascending at sunrise, when you're born. Um,
Okay.
the sign on the horizon or whatever when you're born. So,
Okay.
if you're born in the early morning, your sun will probably be in the 12th or first house, and it'll be in the same sign as the sin will be the same sign as your sun sign. But most people aren't always born in the morning. So you'll have a different ascendant sign. So the rising sign is your mask. It is also how you physically look. It is really amazing. Like
Oh,
there's research on it. You can look up, ascendant face research. They'll have every ascendant sign in their face, celebrities, and you'll see the similarities of their jawbone or their hair, or and so
oh my God.
and the ascendant is like everything because it's how you relate to all areas of life. It really affects everything about your personality, and it's how people perceive you when they first meet you. They pick up on the energy of the rising sign. Until they really get to know you better, they're not going to know your sun sign, which is the next important thing, which is your main identity. That is your main personality that you show the world. Now,
So the rising sign's kind of like your mask, is what you're saying.
yes, and your
Yeah,
physical.
because when I pulled up Aquarius, I mean, the archetype is rebel. I'm like, oh, that's me.
Yeah, your sun is so you have a Libra rising, which this is another thing about the ascendant that I teach people.
Yeah.
The ascendant is very powerful and has a very strong energy. That's why we always look at the ascendant, the sun, and moon. Those are three important things.
Okay, so if my moon is in the 12th, it looks like it says 12 Pisces. What does that mean?
Yes, so your moon is in Pisces, so that means that you are spiritual, mystical. Pisces are, I call them fallen angels. They're angels. They kind of are here on earth, and they don't
Hello.
they're here like they feel like I'm not from here.
Right.
Like
Oh my
Nicolas Cage in City of Angels. When he fell, he's like, "What am I doing here?" He became human or whatever. Yeah.
That's
So
me.
yeah, that's Pisces. Pisces are artistic, creative. They're compassionate. They want to help people. Okay, they're
Yeah,
drawn to all the spiritual topics they're drawn to.
yeah,
Healing, astrology, Reiki, angels, all of it. So emotionally, inside, you're very sensitive and empathic,
very.
but you have air. So your moon is a water moon. That means it's a water sign. Pisces is water. So it makes you, sensitive, emotional. And the moon is already where we are vulnerable and where we find happiness and comfort and security. And how we show love and emotion is our moon. So that's your inner self, your moon. That's the side you don't show to everyone until you trust them, because it's
Mhm,
your vulnerable side.
mhm,
And then your sun sign is what you not fake, but it's how you interact with acquaintances and people at work, that don't know you deeply.
mhm,
You just portray Aquarius, and I'm a Virgo, so I portray Virgo. But
mhm,
the rising sign is how people can misjudge you because they may think, okay, because you're Libra rising
mhm. I'm
is
trying to look it up while I'm talking
it's
to you, but go
ruled,
ahead.
it's ruled by Venus. So we call
Okay.
that your chart ruler.
Oh, and they're the peacemaker.
Yes, in harmony, in peace, and they may
Yeah.
see you
Yeah.
as at first they may think that you're always sacrificing for others, like a people pleaser, like you want to think about others first, and you want to make peace, and you want to, okay, well, what do you want? And you may not speak up, you may be a little quiet and shy, but that's the mask. So when people really get to know you, that Aquarius can come out. And they're like, whoa, wait a minute. You have a strong opinion. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
know that because I thought you were this Libra, like easygoing
Mellow.
chameleon, just going to go with the flow, whatever we want. You're like,
You're
no, wait
right.
a minute. I don't believe in that. Like, that's
Yeah.
not right. And so you'll stand up because
Stand up, right, for humanity.
Aquariuses are very, they're very,
Humanitarian.
yeah, they're into their beliefs.
Oh,
They're,
yeah.
they're rebels in a way. They can be non-traditional, but they can also be very traditional in their beliefs and their religious beliefs and their humanitarian causes. And they love to have friends and acquaintances and socialize and think outside the box and be creative and imaginative and unique, and they want to stand out. You're not a follower,
No.
it's an Aquarian. Now, Libra is a chameleon, so it fools people but it also makes you very feminine and pretty and into art and beauty and makeup and dress and like you like pretty things,
Mhm.
and music and so and you can relate to life as a Libra, and that's your ruler is Venus. So your chart ruler is the planet of love and relationships.
Oh
That's
my
your chart ruler.
gosh, that's so crazy.
Yeah, and you'll relate to Venus if you
I
start
do relate to
my
Venus.
book.
That's
Yeah,
so
read about Venus because Venus is your ruler, your chart ruler, and that everyone can find out their chart ruler
how
if
do
you
you
know your
know that? Okay,
rising sign.
okay,
You
so
got to know your rising. Yeah, you got to know your rising sign to know your chart ruler. Yeah,
okay,
you
okay.
need to have an accurate time of birth.
Yeah,
That's
well,
strong.
right. Well, I just want to say to you, thank you, because
You're welcome.
yeah, because this makes so much sense. Because I'm
Yeah.
all about love, and I'm all about, and I think, okay, when I pass, I want to go to Venus because, I want to go to the planet of love. Because I
Yeah.
think that's where Jesus was. I think that's where he came from. It's a planet
Yeah.
of love, and that's where I want to
Absolutely.
go. So that's so
Harmony.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. See, you resonate with that because that's the thing about astrology. It just validates what you already know about yourself because you live this. Your soul, it's your soul. It's in
Right.
the soul.
So, you guys, I want to say a lot something about this book because as I was going through it, I mean, it's a large book, but of course, it has everybody's sign, and of course, you
Yeah.
have a lot of information in here. But what I really love about this is that you do go through all the houses, and I just want to talk really quickly about some of the houses. There are 12 houses, so we don't have time to do them all, but I
Sure.
want to pick some out that I just thought were really interesting. I didn't know this. For example, the first house, ascendant or rising sign that we're talking about, influences how we handle stress and respond with courage in all areas of our life.
Yeah.
That's interesting. The second house involves how we make our money and find security, comfort, self-worth, value, and basic needs. I mean, this is really interesting. Okay, so if I know that's my second house and that the energy influences me, then how can I apply this? I guess I
Yeah.
want to ask Carmen.
So what you need to see is that you want to first see, do you have planets in any of those houses?
Okay.
If you do, that's highlighted. That's very important. And then we want to look at, what's the energy of that planet? What does that planet represent? And that energy is going to affect the second house of your money and your values. It could affect, so for instance, someone that has the moon in the second house means that their emotional security and comfort is tied to financial stability. That means that emotionally they're going to be worriers about money, about comfort, about not having money to pay their bills. So they can be a little thrifty. They can be a little bit more cautious about their money because the second house is the money that you make on your own. It's the effort you put in to make. The eighth house is other people's money and
Oh,
how that money helps you. So that's like your spouse's money, inheritance, property, goods of the dead, all those things are how they help your money, other people. But the second house is how you make money. If you don't have planets there, which a lot of people don't, you want to look at what sign is on the cusp of the second house.
okay.
And the energy of that sign, you look in the book, if it's Pisces, read about Pisces. You may want to spend money on spiritual things. You
Mm.
may also have a hard time saving money because Pisces, they love a lot of different things, taking classes, spiritual work, you may be paying a lot, doing that. You can make money through artistic endeavors. It also, whatever sign is there can show you how you make money, how, if you're, writing or if you need to teach classes or if how you make money and how you think about money is the sign on the second house cusp.
Right. Well, what this seems to me is that if things are going kind of crazy in your life, you can look at your chart, you
Yeah,
can see where the planets are, you can go and read about that planet. And what I pick up from this is then you have an awareness of what's going on.
absolutely. You
It's
got
not like, oh my God, this is happening to me. It's happening for me because this is what the
yes,
planets are asking me to learn at this point. Is that
yes,
right?
absolutely. Like when people call, like when people want to consult with me, me to do look at their chart, see what they say, what's going on? Like I'm having trouble, like with money, or I'm not feeling well physically. What we do there is we look at the transit chart, which is also in the book. So each chapter has, if you have transits in the first house,
Like, how do you know if you have a transit? Like, I don't
so
understand that.
yeah,
Explain
yeah.
that. Sorry.
So a transit chart. So you have a birth chart, which is what we
Right.
talked about. It never changes. So
Okay.
the natal or birth chart is the map of your soul that we talked about, taking a picture of the sky when you came in.
Right.
The transit chart is what's going on right now
Right
in
needle.
the
Okay.
sky. So
Okay.
we take a picture of the sky right now and we put it in a wheel in symbolic form and we put it on top of your birth chart. And then I interpret
Oh.
it. Then I interpret it because what we see is everything going on right now and what area of life it's affecting for you. And
Oh.
so as the planets move through the sky every day, or, sometimes, for instance, the moon moves quickly through every sign every 2 to 2.5 days.
Really?
Does not stay in a sign more than 2.5 days. So that's why every 2 to 3 days, emotionally, we feel different because one
Yeah,
day
because the
we
moon
can
has that energy.
yes. And then when there's a full moon, a new moon, all of that affects our emotions and our emotional nature. So if the moon, everyone's different based on your chart. So like for me, when the moon is in Scorpio, I'm feeling really intense and deep and like I don't want to go anywhere and I often dream things
Mm.
and they happen. When the moon is in like let's see, Gemini, I'm restless. I want to go out and travel, go out to eat, get out of the house, and I'm usually a homebody. So I'm like, oh,
Okay.
yeah, it's a Gemini moon, And then when the moon's in Cancer, you become a homebody and, I want to stay home and comfort and cozy. So
Well,
the moon affects us all. So that transit isn't going to mess with you very long. So if you're not feeling good, I'm like, okay, listen, it's going to pass in 2 days.
right.
It's going to go and it moves through all the houses quick. But guess what? The big outer planets like Saturn, Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, they affect us for years.
For a
And
long time. Well, yeah, and I just want to say two things.
yes,
One, I've been affected for a long time by the planets, and we'll talk about that in a
yeah,
second. But the first thing I want to say is what I've learned about the moon since I've been doing the spiritual work and, doing these shows and stuff and learning all this spiritual stuff is that I know that if it's a new moon, that's when I want to manifest.
yes, yes.
And I want the audience to know that. So I always, I have a moon calendar because it's
Oh,
really
yeah.
important that you manifest your desires on a new moon. I also have learned over time and experience, and I'm going to age myself, that over aging, that the full moon
Yeah.
makes people wacky.
Oh, yeah. The
And
research.
wacky things happen. Yes, research. Go ahead, Carmen. I want
Yeah.
you to expand upon that.
I worked in crisis intervention, when I first became a social worker with runaway teens, and I'd tell everybody at work, they
Mhm,
thought I was crazy. I'm like, listen, it's a full moon, guys. We're going to be busy. And
mhm.
they're like, oh, and then they're like, Carmen, all my kids were at the police station. Like, what? And I said, it was a full moon, guys. That's why. And they started,
Right.
seeing that. But I talked to police officers, cops, emergency medical technicians, EMTs, emergency room docs. Their busiest time every month is during the full moon.
Right.
There's more domestic disputes, there's more car accidents, all of that because there's heightened emotions.
There's
If people,
heightened emotions. Yeah. So when I see
yeah,
the full moon,
yeah.
I'm really careful with my words.
Oh
I'm really
yeah.
careful with my interactions. It's really
Yeah.
interesting. I mean, I'm not an astrologer, but I do know to
Yeah.
be careful on those times. And it's the energy.
It
It's
is.
so the energy. And that's what your book is about, your astrological energy.
Yeah.
It's so like right on. Okay. I just want to ask this really quick and then we'll get into maybe some predictions. We can't be here forever with you. I don't know. But I will say something, and I don't like to ask for personal advice, but I'll just say this about my own chart. It's been tough for me in the last few years. I mean, it's been the toughest time
Yeah.
of my whole entire life.
Wow.
Been in the last few years, but I've just come out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've just come out of it as a Aquarius. And I think all Aquarians, and I just want you to see if you know this or if you've seen
Yes.
this in the
Yes.
Aquarian, we've all just been through the ringer, but I think well, I know it's so that we're ready to ascend to a new level.
Yeah. And also astrologically, I can tell you exactly why you've been feeling this way.
Okay.
Plu-
Carmen.
Pluto, the planet of death and rebirth and transformation, it's gone into Aquarius. It's been in there for since this past year. It would go into Capricorn and then it would go into Aquarius and then it went back into Capricorn.
Mhm,
Now it is fully in Aquarius.
mhm,
What that means is that it's sitting right near your sun
mhm.
because you're an Aquarian sun. Pluto's an Aquarius. It's close to your sun. It's changing your entire personality and identity.
Yes.
It's helping you grow and let go of
I
all
got it. Got
junk that you don't need. Your energy is completely transforming.
I
And
know.
it's painful. It can be painful with Pluto because it affects us for like 20 years. It's like in each house for a long time. And going into your sign, that means it's close to your sun in your transit chart. So I'd
Mm.
have to see what house is your sun in? Can you tell on there? It's a little circle.
It's a circle with a dot. It looks like it.
Yeah. What house is that in?
It says seven Aquarius.
Oh man, so you've got Pluto in the seventh house of partnership and marriage.
Oh, what does that mean?
Yes. That means there's a lot of change and a lot of healing and a lot of growth, a
Mm,
lot of powerful transformations with, I would also say if you're not married,
I'm not.
you're likely to get married during this transit or or find a
Find
partner
the guy finally, huh?
deep and intimate. It's deep sexuality, intimacy, everything deep is Pluto because Pluto rules the eighth house and it's about healing and growth and letting go and releasing the past. So when you do that as an Aquarian sun, Pluto's making you do that with
Hmm.
anything with relationship or partnership. And when you heal that, then Pluto's going to give you someone new, a new relationship.
Interesting, interesting. Well,
Yeah.
what I feel, I'll just tell you this and then I won't ask you anything else personal. But what I feel now is that it's time for me. I feel like I'm waiting.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I'm going to go to a different level as far as the communication that I put out to the world.
Yeah.
And I wonder if you see that as like the business part of it. Do you see that in my chart? Like, what would I look for that? How would I know?
Yeah, I think
That's what I feel like. I feel like I'm getting ready to
yeah,
elevate to something different.
so let me tell you what signs on your 10th house on the top of the chart, the 10th house cusp, the MC.
The
That's
MC.
your career.
Oh, it says CAN, Cancer.
All right. All right. So,
MC
as
is Cancer.
as an Aquarius, and because Pluto's in Aquarius, this is exactly what's going on, is that
Am
everything,
I right?
everyone has to, everyone's going to get more technological, more about information sharing. So,
Okay.
so what, writing books, which I know you wrote a book recently too, another book on angels.
Mhm.
And so writing books, but not just that, Aquarians rule, as an Aquarius, you're supposed to work with groups. So you said you're doing presentations with groups and all that. That is
Yeah,
exactly,
speaking. Yeah,
that's
speaking,
what
doing
you're
the
meant.
podcast. Yeah, and I want to do that more. And I
Yeah,
have this like yearning to do it.
you
Like
can do it.
push myself out there further
Yeah.
because I feel like that's what I'm supposed to do. Isn't that interesting?
You're meant to be a part and run groups. You're meant to be affecting the collective, like the masses. So like you could do retreats
Mhm.
about whatever topics you want and bring people in. And it's
Together.
all about networking. Like you need to network and like link people to resources they need. And like you're good at that. That's an Aquarian thing, but you need to work with groups as an Aquarian. That
Interesting.
that's your thing because Aquarius rules the 11th house of groups and friendship and humanitarian causes. And
Right.
it's like, like advocating for victims' rights, or it's like being a part of an organization where you don't just, do a couple people one-on-one
To a
charts.
mass amount of
You
people.
need to be, yeah, in a group doing something. And teaching and talking is definitely there. That's an
Yeah.
Aquarian thing.
Yeah. Oh,
Raising awareness. Raising awareness is an Aquarius thing. Like I can see you doing that. And
gosh, Carmen, that's so true. Well, I just, and not to be all, I just want to raise the awareness about spirit, about God, about the earth, about the energy,
yeah,
and I know writing this book, I mean, the more you write, I know the more you realize the energy of everything,
yeah, yeah.
I don't know. So tell us, I'm so curious, if you do you mind giving us a few things of what's been happening this year astrologically, what you see maybe coming up?
Yeah,
Um,
guys, this year, 2025, since it started. It has been the biggest year that astrologers have seen in many, many years. Like every astrologer knows, 2025 is it's been unheard of. Like the amount of planets that are changing signs, which is a huge thing in astrology because those outer planets, they stay there for many years. So get this. First thing we had happen at the beginning of the year was Pluto, the planet of death, destruction, cataclysmic change, healing and growth,
mhm.
changed into Aquarius, and it has not been in Aquarius since the 1800s.
Right. Change, time of change.
So what astrologers do is we look at in history what was happening in the 1800s, the last time Pluto was in Aquarius, and we can see those same patterns replaying out in the world today.
That's
And it's happening, and Pluto in Aquarius is also supposed to be the technological society is exploding. I mean, look at this. There's AI, there's
AI, yeah.
robots,
Yeah.
but we have to be careful with Pluto in Aquarius because we don't want to become too scientific and technological where we lose our humanity and
Right.
our emotions and our kindness and our, you know, love
Our
for people,
light. Yes.
our light. Like we can't, we don't want AI taking over like the new Mission Impossible movie I just saw Tom Cruise.
Well, but you know what,
AI is going to take
Carmen?
over the world, and it's like, what?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
hold on. Let me just say something to you.
gotta
This is
be
what I
careful.
feel intuitively. As you're saying that, and I just felt this while you were saying this. As all this AI comes out, look at all the lights. Look at all the spiritual people that are here at this time and raising the vibration. I feel like there's so many light workers here to balance this out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What do you
And
think?
I just saw something about AI, because it's very controversial.
Well,
It
yeah, sure.
and my daughter, I don't know, there's something with this younger generation, she's 20. but she has friends that are computer scientists, majors, and she's telling me, Mom, don't use AI. It's evil, it's wrong. And I'm like, where are they getting this? I don't know. I mean, I think it's kind of neat because, but then,
I don't feel good about it, to be honest with
no,
you, Carmen. I don't.
no, ethics in astrology, like that's the problem. It's only as accurate as the people that put the knowledge into it.
That's
It's a
right.
supercomputer. That's
Mm-hmm.
all it is. It's not God, it's not the creator, it's a supercomputer. What it can be used for is research,
Right.
and
Medical things.
yeah, like within reason, but people are putting stuff in there, having it write stuff for them, and that's getting a little bit where we're not using our own brains.
Well,
And
yeah, because even when I go to write an email, I get the option to have them write it for me.
yeah, I
And you
don't
know
do that.
what? I almost feel like it's insulting. I'm like, really? You think you're gonna I wouldn't say, and then when I go to see what it would say, it's
Yeah.
not what I would say.
No,
So you know it's not coming from me. You know what I mean?
it's not good. And it was funny because I just submitted a proposal to do a course. And when I was talking to them on email, they said, send your course proposal over, but no AI is accepted. Don't use AI. So it's becoming a thing where they don't want authors or,
Good.
or teachers using AI. And they even have systems, my daughter told me, where they know the teachers can scan your paper in there and they can know if you used AI on it. If you
Well,
wrote it,
yeah, the
or
kids could
if
do that. Yeah.
yeah. And so at least there's some um checks and balances that are happening with this, so people can't just have it write a paper for them. That's not learning. Like, you need to actually write your own papers, when you're and but what I do think I noticed it, I saw a debate on LinkedIn recently because I did crisis intervention for a long time. And I was a part of this project where they're wanting to create a text app to get people to the resource they need in the moment. If they're
Okay.
like suicide prevention, if they need, they're depressed, get them to where they need immediately, and they can just text. It's
Right.
AI though, so you have to put in the AI all of the resources and social work numbers, age. You have to. A human has to put it in
Have to
there.
input the information into the system,
Yeah,
right?
put it in. But if you can't, we should not be, asking AI to answer all this stuff for us. That's not the use of it. It's good to
Right.
say, okay, um, can you list the resources available in this community? And then it'll pop them out. And phone numbers, that kind of thing. It could be beneficial for, like, crisis intervention work, people that are,
Mhm.
hotlines, crisis hotlines, things like that, where it's more, not that people aren't always 1% answer their phone. I had this happen we had a 24-hour hotline that everyone's supposed to answer. And so I would do tests of the hotlines, and it was for sexual assault hotline. And the phone's ringing and ringing and ringing and nobody's answering. I'm like, okay, wait, somebody's going to get fired. You're meant to answer. I mean, what's going on? And so I was in charge of that for 11 different states. And it was, and I'm like, people, it's humans answering the phone because we have to respond out.
Mhm.
I could see the benefits of the text, to link them to where they need to go. But then
But
it can't replace people
no,
though.
I'm just going to say, Carmen, I'm just going to
Yeah,
stop you because if
yeah,
I
it's
was
crazy.
having an emergency, I sure
Yeah,
as heck wouldn't want AI. I
I
would want a voice on the other end.
yes,
I
absolutely.
mean, and and I'm just going to say this, it's really gotten to the point where I get really irritated. Call me old fashioned. But if I have a problem like with my website or something, because I do my own website and that, and you can't talk to anybody. You
I
have to send a message and they have to respond. And it's so irritating. There
know.
are times in life where you just want to speak to a person and it's gotten so automated. I don't like that. I
It's
think
bad. I was yelling the other day. I'm like, speak to a real person, speak to a human. I had to keep
right,
saying,
customer, that's what I do.
I'm
Customer
like,
service, customer
no, I
service.
can help you. No, I want to talk to the, like,
Yeah, well, it's gotten really aggravating and irritating, to be honest with you.
well, guys, it's gonna get way worse because Pluto is an Aquarius, and Uranus, the planet that is also about that rules Aquarius, is going to change from Taurus into Gemini, which is more about science, technology. Things are going to get more and more advanced
Mhm.
very quickly. And this is a big year astrologically. So Pluto into Aquarius, Uranus is going to be going into Gemini. That's going to affect the whole world. Saturn just went into Aries. Neptune's in Aries now. We had a lot of planets that were in Pisces. So at the beginning of the year, a lot of people were feeling, kind of down or
Stuck. Yeah.
feeling sick, like getting illnesses and
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
energy. They were tired. And I'm like,
Yes.
it's because there's a stellium in the transit chart, all in Pisces. Like all this stuff was affecting everyone. I'm like, just wait till everything shifts into Aries. And then Aries is going to give us that physical energy
That
and
uplift.
drive.
Yeah.
And now we're feeling a little better physically. I know I am because
Yeah. I am.
Saturn's in Aries, Neptune's in Aries now. It's good. And Pluto is in Aquarius though, and it's going to be there for long, long time. And
And
so
what's that going to do, Carmen? What's that going to do to somebody like me?
I'll tell you what's going to happen is we're already there now. If the internet goes out or everything goes out, you can't stream, you can't do anything.
Mm-mm.
And most people don't even have a phone, a home phone. They
Right.
use
I don't.
cell. What
Right.
if the cell signals go? So I have a home phone now. I know it sounds weird. I kept it just in case no one has the number, but at least I know I can try to call landline if I have to, because it just, you don't know what's going to happen. Like we had a big storm here and we didn't have electric or we didn't have TV for like 2 days. My husband was going crazy. And I'm like, just imagine, like we don't even have a cassette videotape. We used to have those old
Right.
VH.
Right. Right. We could stick in and play. Yeah.
Maybe you can buy them on some, 80s hipster site, to get it. But DVDs even. People are hardly using DVDs anymore. I have a
I
ton.
kept mine because I
I
have
have
a
them
feeling.
too.
I always have
Like
that feeling,
you
that
can watch
maybe
something.
someday.
So when the electric was out, my daughter was going, she was bored. I'm like, hey, I got movies on DVD. So we put a DVD in because we had no television. We had no Wi-Fi. I mean,
I
she
love
couldn't,
it.
couldn't do anything.
Right.
And
I
so it
love it.
makes you think. And I mean, they're talking about going to Mars and creating a civilization. That is on the news. Like this is real. Like this is like what is happening astrologically.
Do you see us astrologically? Do you see us connecting with the ETs finally?
Oh
You
yeah.
do. You
I've
do
been
this
waiting for
year.
this.
This year. You think, Carmen?
It's going to start spurring this year. I think there's going to be like we could
Like
see it.
little spurts of stuff that we'll see.
Well, you know what's crazy? Last was it last fall or the fall before, when Pluto went into Aquarius for a short time because it was retrograding.
I
And when
remember.
that happened, do you remember the Chinese air balloon and all the
Oh
oil?
yeah, that was that time.
That is when. Yes. And I'm
Oh
like, this is so accurate with astrology because, but then, it was like nothing happened. Oh, they,
no.
and I
Because it
watched
went back.
the pilot shot one down, and he said, he didn't know what it was. It was not an air balloon. The one thing may have been a balloon, but the other things no. But then you don't hear about it. Nothing, it's just like nothing happened. We
Right.
don't, but then you see Congress. Was watching, old Air Force pilots, people were on there saying that they saw UFOs and
Right.
they want the government to release these files. Well, they released a lot of stuff in the past couple years. So it's like the energy is moving towards that. So
Towards
I
that.
was
I
thinking,
just, yeah, and
yeah.
Carmen, as you're saying this, I think there's a whole civilization underground, by the way.
Well, they say the aliens, they believe that a lot of the ships are coming from the ocean because you can
Right.
see them coming up out of the ocean.
Well, yeah.
And on Ancient Aliens, there's a whole show about that where
Yeah.
the water, there's something in the water that's causing people to have some abilities and stuff. But they even had the government came out there because something happened.
Well,
I
the
was
Navy talked about it. I know it was on Navy ships to begin with, and now I see it on TikTok, and I've seen it come out, the ships
like,
coming out of the water. But I just feel like there's civilizations underground, and there have been for a long time, and that we will finally start to realize that we are the surface people and there's underground people.
it's like that movie Abyss back in the 90s. I love that movie. Have you remember that movie, The Abyss?
Yeah, I guess I
Like
do.
down in the ocean and like that, the alien life was there, and it wasn't mean. It was good, but yeah, I was going to ask you, like, what's your theory on the alien stuff? Like, what do you think it is? Do you think they're angels?
I feel that there's a lot of different entities out there. I feel that this is a big universe. and we are not alone, of course. And I
Yeah.
believe we've been working with different species for a long time. I believe our government has been working with
Yeah.
these. I was a real estate agent for many years, and I can remember selling a house to a scientist in Albuquerque many years ago, and he was on the Air Force Base, Kirkland Air Force
Oh
Base,
yeah. Oh
White
yeah.
Sands. Okay,
Oh yeah.
he told me, he said, Nancy, they sit in our meetings. So it's just that something that we haven't been. I know it, you know it, we know they're here. I just think, and I believe there's good and bad, just like people. There
Amen.
are good and they're bad in everything. And
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that I guess the only thing that I've ever heard, gosh, this comes from Art Bell, I'll tell you, from coast to
Oh
coast,
yeah. Oh, I love
coast
that.
to
Yeah.
coast. He used to say, and I remember this and I never forgot it, that he interviewed somebody and they said, if any alien comes about and you feel scared, you just call out for Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember thinking that. But then I always think I'm divinely protected. I'm with God.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
don't worry about that kind of stuff. I am aware that they're here. And
Yeah.
as long as we're all peaceful, I think it'll come to that.
Yeah.
I think bottom line is, Carmen, there are people, we haven't raised our vibration high enough to meet the uh other ETs or whatever, the ETs, the extraterrestrials, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people just couldn't handle it because they're not at that place. That's what I really think.
And maybe God, I even, I'm open-minded. Like I was like, God created everything. So
Sure,
he created them. And even the last pope said to the Catholics, it's okay to believe in aliens. He
sure.
so it's like because God is vast, and I thought that was really nice, and
And
then
yeah,
yeah, and if you think about this, so in the Bible, I always wondered, when the disciples were on when he came floating out of the sky in a light,
hmm
and they did the Sermon on the Mount and all the things he did,
hmm
was he coming from a ship? I mean, I don't know. I
Well,
mean,
yeah, and I was
I'm
just reading.
open-minded,
No,
it's
I am too. And I was just reading
yeah,
in the Bible and Psalm, what is it, 91:11? Was it 91? Psalm 91 talks about his wings. And yeah, it talks about like God's wings. And that to me, that
yeah.
always just blows my mind. Because yes, I do believe in the angels. We all have a guardian angel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mine stands right next to me. I have lots of angels I work with.
Nice.
But I believe, people like, okay, so I work with the angels because I've gotten to that place.
Yeah.
I wanted to do that. It was a choice.
That's your mission.
Yeah,
Like
it was
we
a
all have a
choice.
mission. Yeah.
Yeah, if some people don't choose to do that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that I really think they're waiting for us to be ready.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so much knowledge. Like in the old days, like this was they lived astrology was part of the signs were on the Jewish temple. The money, the 12 sons of Jacob, their personalities are similar to the 12 zodiac signs. Like this stuff goes way back, and it's kind of like a lot of the knowledge was hidden.
Absolutely.
They took it and then,
Because they didn't want us to know,
I know they wanted to have power, you know,
right?
and that's how all the other religions started from breaking off and doing other things. So it's interesting because, the Catholic Church used to teach reincarnation. It was a doctrine and they got rid of
Interesting.
it.
Interesting.
Saint Jerome, I had a book about it, was reincarnation for the Christian, and it talked about how they took it out of there. So the Catholic Bible, is different than the Protestant Bible and I studied religion was my minor, so I love this stuff. But it makes you think. And but I know that God created astrology. I
Mm.
know it works because
Yep.
it's energy. And it's not me predicting anything or channeling anything. It is me reading the energy, and it is what God created. So I love it. I love
Well,
astrology.
yeah. Well,
It's
it
my
says in
thing.
the Bible, he created the heaven and earth, and there will be signs in the stars. And what I feel is that we've had so many eclipses, so many blood
Yeah.
moons, so many
Yeah.
different signs in the last few years, I would say. Don't you
Yeah.
agree?
Oh, it's
So
been
many,
intense, really since COVID, man. It's been like
yeah. It's like,
it's
wake up, pay attention, right?
yeah, and and that's the thing I love, like you said, not to be afraid because we don't have
Hell
anything
no.
to be afraid of, but people are afraid. People are afraid of it, like if they show up in the sky, I won't be surprised, but some people will not be okay. And
Right.
I think people like us are going to have to help a lot of people.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
because we're going to have to be strong and help people because they're not, you know, and they talk about that now that more and more bad people are doing crazy things because it's like they can't, their bodies aren't handling the vibration.
The raising of the vibration. Well, if you're not connected and you're not grounded,
Yeah.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
could see that too. I could see that too. Gosh, Carmen, I could talk to you
Got to
for
ground. Yeah, you got to ground your energy and that's
You have
important,
to. You
you know.
have to. I feel like the most important thing is to connect with God every day, connect with Source
Yes.
Spirit, whatever you want to say, the Radiant One,
Yeah.
connect with the earth, ground and be present here. I've become an observer rather than a participant. I do participate and help people, but
Yeah.
I don't play into all the craziness. I
Yeah.
I'm to a point now where, Carmen, I'll just say this. I don't know why I'm just on this soapbox lately. I'm just like, why don't we have free energy? Why are we paying for it? Why don't we all have free water? Why do we have to pay for houses? Why? Who decided?
I know. I know.
Decided this? And I just would like to see a change. I'd like to see us
Yeah,
all be free and be free of worry and be free of debt and just why
I
can't we
know.
all live harmoniously? I know I
And
sound like a
everything is
now, don't
all
I?
about like survival, like the
Oh
price of
yeah. And the
things.
cost of living, the cost of
Yeah.
living. I
Yeah.
say, yeah, I'm
It's like we're
watching this.
trapped in this cat in this material world. It's like this, you know, why it's like the Matrix. You know, we're trapped in this matrix that we have to be normal to live and survive, but you're trying to break out of it too because it's not real.
Right,
It's illusion. And
right.
it's like, you know, becoming enlightened, realizing I'm a soul,
Yeah, but you
have,
still got to pay your electric bill.
but I still got to eat and pay for my
Right.
college. You know, it's like,
It's
you know,
true. It's true. And that's where I'm at with it. I'm like, okay, come on, you guys.
yeah,
Anyway, it's
I
such a
agree.
pleasure to have
It's
you on.
you too. I was
Do you
having
want
me.
to give any predictions before we get out of here for the end of the year for what's coming up for us?
Um,
I hate to put you on the spot, but I'll ask.
I think, I do think that we're gonna, you know, come. I think there's gonna be some peace things met. I mean,
Nice.
I think some of the things going on, we're gonna come
Wars and stuff.
together. But right now, there's with all the Aries energy, Aries rules war, Aries rules battle, conflict. And
Yeah.
so there is a lot of that going on. And, you know, I could see us, you know, we are, I know we're sending troops places. I know we are. They're just not talking about it. We're all over the world. I mean, but I think that there's going to be a revolution. I think Pluto Aquarius is going to bring the world together more technology wise, and I hope that it doesn't happen because something drastic has to happen to get all the countries to work together.
Well, it's like Trump going to Saudi Arabia and doing all that. That was pretty interesting. That was really nice to see.
Yeah, it was different, right? Like
It was
we haven't
great.
seen that in years
Right, it
on
was great. That
TV.
to me shows the difference in the astrology that's going on in the stars and what's
There's
happening.
international stuff, you know, and
Yeah.
like and also just
And with the
symbolically.
tariffs too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
because
the
it
steel industry. I was watching about the steel
yeah,
industry yesterday. I'll just bring this up really
sure,
briefly. I'm
sure.
just really big. I grew up in Ohio and Michigan.
Oh yeah.
My dad was an engineer and a farmer, but it's the steel industry that has always kept our country going. It's how we build our ships. It's how we build things. And our steel industry has just gone to nothing.
Oh
And
yeah.
to see Trump bring it back is gigantic,
Well,
actually.
we need like this. I'm hoping that this whole tariff thing does work out because you know little things like I love mugs, right? I love to drink tea and coffee. I want to find American made mugs. Do you know that every beautiful coffee cup or mug that I look at is made in China? Every single time I look on the bottom of it, it's made in China, unless it's handmade pottery, and that's all I'll buy is Polish pottery. Like I'm trying to find, like, oh, it's so pretty. I bet it's made in China. Made in China. We need to be making stuff here.
We have to buy Made in America. And then we went
Yes,
through this many years ago, and I can remember this when they had the Gulf War. People were more about buy American made, and we have to get back to that and stay there.
we got it. That's why I like that,
Support
you know,
each other.
people are, you know, companies are now being forced in a way to build here now. because of
Mm-hmm.
the tariff. We need
Mm-hmm.
more things built here.
Right.
Um, and it's just such a mess, with a lot of stuff. It's so hard to fix all the problems because it's just been going on forever. But if we can start taking care of, you know, we start doing some things, maybe we wouldn't have to pay for water and electric. Maybe, we take care of the United States, but also, Pluto and Aquarius, it reminds me, and all the Saturn, and Aries and Neptune and Uranus is that golden dome they're going to build to protect.
Really?
Yeah,
That part, okay, okay, that makes sense. That makes
it's
sense.
literally a sign. It's an energy dome. It's like a technology dome that would protect us from weapons.
Yeah.
And how in the heck did they figure out how to make it? They know how. See,
I
this is,
think it came from the ETs.
well, well, yeah. I mean, you know what? I was standing out here the other day and I thought it was UFO first. And I mean, it was completely flat. And I mean, I'm like, oh my gosh. And it flew right over my house. It was a jet. It was some kind of a,
New
how,
jet.
how did we, and I don't even know how anyone was in it because I don't even know where they would sit if they're laying down. It was like flat and it was like a saucer, like a winged saucer thing.
Yeah, so we've
And
gotten that technology from
yes,
them.
we
Mhm.
got, I think that a lot of the technology we got, it's like Project Blue Book, I
Yep,
watched it on the history.
exactly.
I mean, the thing is, they don't want everybody to know this stuff, but we know it's like
We're
they
not
just,
stupid.
yeah, they're emitting, oh, well, there are, now they call them, they don't, UE, unidentified aerial,
Yeah, right.
UAPs,
Right. Still the same thing.
not UFO, UAP. And
Yeah.
I'm like, listen, the reason I believe in it is I saw a UFO in 1995
Oh my
in
gosh,
Missouri.
Carmen.
Yes, and my friend was with me, so I had a witness.
Okay, what happened?
Well, I was driving my car. I had just been at seeing a guy I had been dating at the time, and we were driving on I-44 through Missouri, the Midwest, and I was getting ready to get on the exit ramp to my hometown,
Yeah.
which was Rolla, Missouri, and we have a big university there, an engineering school in my hometown, and they actually have a fake Stonehenge that they built on campus. And
Wow.
I thought that was kind of interesting. And
Yeah.
so I thought that maybe what I saw had to do with that Stonehenge being there, and maybe they're checking it out. I don't know. But anyway, I had her with me, and we're talking clear sky, full moon. I mean, there was no clouds. Like it was like I saw the big, huge moon hanging there, and I'm talking, and we're listening to music, and as I look to get off the exit ramp, the whole sky, it was a saucer-shaped yellow light that covered the entire skyline across the highway.
Oh my
It
God.
was floating there. It was like the sky opened up yellow. That's the only way I know how
Like
to
a
describe
portal,
it.
like it came in a portal or something.
I didn't see anything that was a ship. It looked like a huge ship made a light. It wasn't blinking lights. It wasn't gray or metallic. It was like the whole thing was hanging over the whole highway. I pulled off. I got out of the car and these other cars pulled off and I stood under it and watched it. And it just hung there. It was huge. And then within
Wow.
seconds, it went to a dot and disappeared before our eyes. Whoop, gone, gone.
Crazy.
And I called the police. I went home and woke up my parents and they thought, oh my God, you're crazy. Like, go to bed. I'm like, I saw a UFO. It's real. So they're like, go to sleep. So my friend and I, we called the police and they said, well, you're not the first caller. We had multiple calls tonight. What did you
Wow.
see? They did not. They listened. They took it down. And they're like, well, we'll research, if there was anything in the air. And I'm like, listen, there's
There
nothing.
was.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, it wasn't Fort Leonard Wood, guys. No, because we have Fort Leonard Wood's about an hour from my hometown, the Army.
Yeah.
But no, it was unreal, and I can't explain what it was, but I know that it was. There's no way it could shrink and disappear in the sky. It went somewhere. It was going the speed of light, is what I think.
But that's interesting because it probably opened your mind by seeing that
Oh,
as
it did. That's why
yes.
I just started studying astrology before
Yeah.
that, because
Mhm.
that's the year before that I saw that orb in my doorway, which I told you about on another show.
Oh, yes.
That
I
yellow orb.
remember that, Carmen.
And that's how I became an astrologer and got into this weird stuff was because
You
I
were
had,
supposed to.
Yeah, yeah, I had the glowing ball of light, and then I saw that thing just 2 years apart in the 90s. And now I'm going to be 50. I mean, this was when I was like
Crazy.
16 to 19 years old. It's crazy. I don't feel like I'm 50, but I am. I'm
That's
going to
all
be
right. I don't feel as old as I am either. Well,
maybe
listen, we
we
got to
are.
get out of here for today. But
Okay.
listen, I want you to tell, first of all, let me just promote your book here. You guys,
Okay,
it's
good.
Carmen Turner-Schott. It's your astrological energy. Maximize the power of your birth chart. This is what it looks like if you're watching me on YouTube today. If you're listening to me, where can we find the book? I'm sure we can get it at Amazon. This is put together by Llewellyn. We want to thank Llewellyn
Yes.
Publishers for publishing this. And
Yes.
what's your website, Carmen?
Yeah, my website is Carmen Turner Schott, SCHOTT.com. And all my books are on there. You can follow me on Facebook. It's Deep Soul Divers Astrology with Carmen Turner-Schott. And then Instagram, Carmen Turner-Schott, author. And love for you to follow me on Insta and Facebook. And go to my website. You can download a free PDF gift of the 12th house,
I love
stuff
it.
about the 12th house. And all my books are on there, classes that I'm going to be teaching. I'm going to be teaching a class coming up too. So love to have people. It's about the nodes of the moon in our past lives and soul mission. So
Fantastic.
in July. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah,
Okay, you guys, in
pre-order today. Yeah, it releases August 8th. So
August 8th for this, is that
yes,
right? Okay, so we've got it. I've got an early copy here. It does say
yes, you
I
do.
have an
Yeah.
uncorrected proof. Okay, you guys, you got to pick it up. All right, one more time, I want to talk about my angel book really quickly, A Guide to Angel Communication, Spiritual Law. Pick it up either at Barnes and Noble, Amazon, or your favorite bookstore. I have my angel classes on Amazon, you guys, and they're free right now. It's a three-part series, so please, take advantage of it while I've got it out there. And if you want a psychic reading, or if you'd like for me to speak, or if you just want an energy healing, go to my website, nancyyearout.com. Carmen, it's been a pleasure. I hope everybody has a fabulous week, and God bless.